Welcome to Conflict Havoc number 2. Okay, so in my last video, which you're probably all going to see in a second, I want to explain this really quickly. Take a seat, Spidey style. So, let's talk about Marvel in alternate timelines, dimensions, and characters that you've probably never even heard of before. Like your Shrew! That was awesome. Too close to the edge of that bit there. Like yours truly, Miguel O'Hara. That's me. Versus when I'm this guy behind me, Ben Riley. So, alternate timelines, alternate realities, alternate people. In my world, Spider-Man did exist. But thousands of years ago. And yes, he was Peter Parker. Now, my spider powers are significantly low-key. Unless you're really a fan. And even if you're really a fan of me, Miguel O'Hara, my spider powers still kind of suck. Alright? There are some pluses, and there are some big-ass negatives. Pluses? My wall crawling ability is way different from Peter Parker's, where he literally can stick to walls because of those little hair follicle things. I don't have those. I have claws. The good news is that my suit is made out of this indestructible fabric that's fireproof, waterproof, weatherproof, you get the gist. And I'm still a smartass, just like the OG Peter Parker. Now, I have fangs and claws. I can poison people when I bite them, and somehow or another it doesn't rip my suit. I have these fangs and claws which I use to scale walls, because unlike the old school superhero, I can't literally, as you saw me fall, stick to stuff. Without using my claws on my hands and my feet, not the heels, just my freaking fingertips and my toes. Can you believe that? Fingers and toes. Who came up with me? That's like a big chip. Now, I will say this, something that I think is really nasty and gross is that I have organic webs, like old school Tobey Maguire did in the original Spider-Man movie. 97, I think. It doesn't matter. Anyway, in his Spider-Man version, he has organic webs that come out of his wrists. Yeah, mine come out of both sides. Like, Wolverine's kid, web shooters. But I don't have, web shooters like Spider-Man. OG Spider-Man. My shit's completely organic. And somehow or another, it actually comes out of my suit at will. I haven't figured out how to do that, but when I need them, I can shoot them, and it's extremely strong. Okay? Luckily for me, I never became the man spider, and also don't shoot webs out of my butt. Now, I will say that I do have a big-time disadvantage over the OG Spider-Man. And that big-time disadvantage is the fact that I don't have spider sense. It's very easy for someone to sneak up on me and start a fight. However, I have one thing that Spider-Man doesn't have. I actually can talk to spiders. Now, I know you're thinking, why did I just do that? Well, let me explain something to you. I kind of would much rather have the spider sense, because it automatically pulls OG Spider-Man out of the way at will, and sometimes not at will. Well, I, on the other hand, if I'm not aware that you're there, there's a good chance that you're going to kick my ass until I snap back into it. I think I have spider rage, too. I'm not going to swear to that, because I'm still trying to learn who I am. And I also got trapped in time and wound up in the 616, where my family doesn't even exist there. I am in a totally alternate timeline. But I still exist in the alternate timeline with the Avengers, Daredevil, X-Men, and Punisher, and Hawk. I don't know if Thor 2099 is in the same universe, but you get the gist. So, here's how alternate timelines and things work. You have thousands of Earths, which are alternate Earths. If you've been paying attention to the DC universe, they did a rebirth and a new 52s. If you've been paying to the Marvel universe, there was just a complete thing called retconning, which totally sucks and wipes out things that are possibly canon, and then they're not. It's one of the reasons why James Williams Jr. stopped reading these comics. Sorry, Marvel. However, he's not relevant right now, even though he's actually under this suit pretending to be me, Miguel O'Hara. Now, there's a lot of different things about alternate timelines. Nate Gray, for instance, comes from an alternate timeline, but he is still the son of Jean Grey and Scott Summers. Nathan Dayspring, Charles Christopher Xavier Summers, is Cable. He comes from the 616, but he had the legacy virus, so they shipped him into the future, and then he decided to find a time machine and come back. I.e., Gray Mocklin is his base, which I believe once belonged to Apocalypse, or Apocalypse 2. And then let's get into Longshot. Longshot comes from TV World. He marries Dazzler, and they have a son called Shatterstar. But I think that might have been retconned. Let's get into Extreme X, one of my favorite X-Men, who's the brother of one of my favorite X-Men, Havoc, and my not-so-favorite X-Men, Cyclops. You know them, the Summer Brothers. And then there's Gabriel, who's the youngest of the 4 brothers. Now, the reason why they don't really count Adam X as a Summers because he's a Summers kid, but he's the son of the kin, and more than likely a result of a sexual assault. Where Scott, Havoc, and Gabriel are all the sons of Christopher Corsair. You see how this is working out? But they're not from an alternate timeline. They're from the 616. I'm from an alternate timeline. Just like the original Phoenix Force Rachel came from a different world where, she was a slave. But that also has been retconned. In fact, what hasn't been retconned? Retconning is the destruction of all things in the comic book world. That means everything that you knew from 1963 to the current day, most of it is no longer canon. Now, that totally messed me up because everything from 1963 to 1993 was like my favorite years of reading. And then this guy came out. And it was cool, but I only got a miniseries in. It didn't really last long. And I think I'm back now. I even have a better suit, and it's red and white. There's a red spider on my chest, and the suit's like white and gray or something like that. But anyway, and these things are way smaller and cooler. I still have my fangs. I still have my power powers. But, I'm still a little bit of a ditz. I'm also a very honest guy. I even told my mom my real name because she laughed it off and didn't think about Miguel O'Hara being the Spider-Man. So as I end this video, I just want you all to know, thank you for watching. But alternate timelines are things like when Trunks came to the future from the past, but he wound up going to the wrong past instead of his past, which changed the dichotomy of the current Dragon Ball Z timeline. His Trunks was killed by Cell, and then that Cell went to the wrong timeline, which is how they found out, which is why Cell was killed in 2 timelines. That being said, this is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. And I'm Miguel O'Hara. And this is the end.